Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
Thank you to all our patrons. We had a little special thing for August, and we had a bunch of new people join us. I sent out a bunch of stickers. If you still want a sticker, $5 and up on our Patreon, you can get stickers. And we have tons of other, early access, bonus episodes. We just put out a bonus episode for the month of September.
Please subscribe, rate, and review us. If you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, or even if you're not, can you just go to iTunes or Stitcher and give us a review? It helps us a lot. You can follow us on social media, TuneOnDRS on Instagram, and TuneOnDoctors on everything else.
Maria just got back from Poland.
I went to Warsaw.
Yeah? How was it?
Well,
what did you go to Poland for?
A wedding.
Oh, okay.
It's a Polish wedding. Very intense weekend.
Why?
People came out of the woodworks to warn me about this, though, because I said I posted on Facebook that I was going, and it was my first Polish wedding, and people responded, good luck, and
in what
be
sense?
Safe. And not even it's just
do they have nine traditions?
You're in for a bit of a treat. It's all the drinking. Here's the thing. Polish weddings they're 2 days long. So you have the wedding, the reception, and then the next day's where in America you might have a brunch and then say goodbye to everybody. Theirs is all day, and you eat the leftover food from the wedding and some other food, and vodka is present throughout the weekend. Well, I just want to preface this by saying, okay, they're Johnny's friends, but they're very nice people, and I think by the end of the weekend they were my friends too. But I don't know.
You're going to turn this into a Hallmark movie.
I liked them, and some of them said they would listen to the podcast, so I think they like me too. So, and
we will find out in the emails.
And it was a lovely way. It was so beautiful, the wedding. But the vodka is okay. So how I haven't drank in 9 months, and I was like, I'm just not going to drink at the wedding. It started off. Here's the thing about the ceremony, the reception, and then the day after. But the reception, it goes till 5 a.m. and not the venue's open till 5. You're welcome to stay till 5, but there's planned activities and food being served throughout the night until it's supposed to be 4 a.m. But we were there till 5.
You would never willingly leave free food.
No.
That would never. If food is on the table.
And not this food. This food was incredible. And it wasn't even it was traditional Polish food. I mean, this was Michelin star, fucking flowers dusted on my roasted lilac pancake food. It was so good. It was stressfully good because I was full by the second course. And that was, they were serving courses 2:30 in the morning on the menu. I sent you a menu.
Oh, you did. You sent me a menu and I was like, oh no, my muffin's going to get sick. Because there's in no way did I see that and think you'll just eat what you can or you'll pace yourself. In my mind, I was like, she's either going to start putting it in her purse or she's going to make herself sick. Those are the only options.
I made myself sick. So some of it was in my purse. It was so good. It was so good, the food, that I was angry. Remember I texted you, I was like, motherfucking food. You're like, is it not good? I was like, it's awesome. And I can't eat it because I was so full.
Okay, so you know how people always joke about buffets where they'll have stretchy pants. I even told you, I was like, how stretchy is your dress? And you're like, it's so tight right now.
No, I had tights and shit.
I just feel like you should have stretched your stomach. If you really knew, how long did you know?
All right, bitch. I didn't know it was going to be, I thought when you hear something till 4 a.m., I thought it was you just a normal reception. You have dinner, you have the cake, speeches, and then you dance the rest of the night. And then I figured we'd go home 1 a.m. So no. And so there's planned activities throughout the night, which is good because it would have gotten really redundant if it hadn't. It would have just been I'm too tired. But somewhere around 11:30, what you do when you're at an event like this and you don't drink, this is my trick and it didn't work, so take for what it's worth, but is you fill up everything and you leave it, right? So they came around offering wine, so the champagne, the wine, I got that, so that's there. So nobody offers more because it looks full and I look like I've just been topped up. The vodka, I filled because they bring you a shot with the first starters. It's a thing, man. I have a picture of it. So
I think a wedding, you learn more about a culture than anything else. You're like, oh, a shot with the soup. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have 3 like little beautiful, 4 beautiful dishes on a long plate, and then it came with a frosted shot glass of vodka. So you eat the tremendous, and then you have a shot. So what I did was, for the first 4 shots we all took together, I took a little sip of the vodka, and then another little sip and another little sip. And when it was empty, I filled it with water, so that whenever we did shots, I was shooting water. No, it wasn't. It didn't work, because I'm around like 11:30, 12:30. I'm like, I still have 4 hours. Yeah, so I didn't continue on. I did drink that weekend. That was a bit of a disappointment, but I gotta say, so it was time for the bouquet catching thing. I was like, Johnny, am I considered single? He's like, no. I was like, no, but I mean, like,
yeah.
And then they were like, Maria, you're not married, so you're single. Yeah. And so what we had to do around the bride, we had to like circle and dance. But because I was being dragged out there, I looked at Johnny. I was like, I'm catching this fucking bouquet, right? Because it was just
because you make everything a competition. Of course.
Yeah, exactly. I really didn't care about actually getting married, but poor some girl who did. And anyway, so
that's been a tradition. She's like, this is the most important tradition. It's like the tarot cards of her life. She's like, if I catch it, I'll be married within a year.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I just like goals.
I wanted some thing to compete for, because I'm so we're dancing around her with All the Single Ladies by Beyonce, which I found so humiliating. All the single ladies, and you're like, ba, 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 ba. And just like a fucking clown up there. Ba, 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 ba. And then it just so happened that I ended up behind her when the music stopped, and she tossed it, and I saw it. I was like, this shit is mine. And I'm next to a 6'2" lady.
I was about to say, because it doesn't even matter who you're next to. You're the shortest person there. Yeah. Like, I'm already just like, you're at the disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm next to a 6'2" girl who thought it was hers. And I was like, sorry, not this time, woman. And I jumped, and I like Michael Jordan. Do you know when he takes like 3 steps in the air when he gets to the basketball hoop? I like Michael Jordan that shit. And I was like, whoa. And then I caught it, and I realized everyone was looking at me. I don't know what happened to me, but I just started doing this wrestling, like, yeah, like right in the camera. And like, fuck yeah.
Forgetting that you're pretty much an American in Poland, just really setting the stage for new stereotypes about how awful we are.
I know. I took a bite out of that bouquet like I was Ozzy Osbourne with a chicken. And so
I think it was a bet.
Fuck. I thought, great, I won that. What I didn't know was that they had me come out, and they did the same thing for guys with a bow tie. So they had me and that guy come out, and I had to dance in front of everyone. And here's the thing, this stuff's supposed to be fun when you're among friends and family, and you're like, look at me, I'm dancing, and they're like, look at you, you're dancing, that's so funny. But I didn't know these people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know them. They're not my friends and family. I'm just the tagger on. They made me do the chicken dance. And you know that moment where you're just like, what is my life? You know? What is this? Why did I want that bouquet so bad? If you go to a Polish wedding, you're in for it.
You've been warned. They're both enjoyable and torturous all at the same time. You want to get into fan mail?
Yeah, right. Yeah. We had a nice one.
We had a super nice one
from Michelle. She says, hello, I just finished watching your episode Trigger Truths and had a good think about what triggers are, physical, psychological, and which I may have. Though I've never thought it to stem from anything traumatic. In fact, I have no idea why I do this. I do have an unusual trigger to share with you. This has haunted me since I was in elementary school and continues until this day. Currently, I'm 34. On occasions when someone or an animal sneezes, I am spontaneously thrown into a fit of uncontrollable laughter that can last a couple of minutes or so. It doesn't happen to every sneezer, to every person or animal every time, but it happens to me at least half a dozen times per year since I was young. It's happened the most to my brother and to dogs. In the past, I worked 10 years at an outdoor dog daycare. The worst when it happened to my school friends, and I could not explain to them why it was happening. I've dug into my mind and have found no explanation for the laughter I have for sneezes. I've tried Googling spontaneous laughter over sneezes and basically came up empty. Someone on Reddit asking if anyone else has the urge to laugh or have to sneeze, but even they have no responses. So,
first of all, can we talk about how cute that is?
It's adorable. I didn't want to laugh too much, but because I don't want it to be like I'm laughing at you, but.
It's adorable. I mean, she said like at some point in her letter, she says that she's like, she thinks she's lost friends. And I was like, oh my God, you would be my special friend. I'd be like, Michelle, do that laugh thing.
Yeah. I'm just like playing a sneeze on YouTube.
Yeah. She does pretty tricks.
Speaking of YouTube, just want to finish it. Yeah. I have to say your YouTube channel has become one of my all-time favorites in all the years I have been watching YouTube, and I've watched it from the beginning. Thanks for all you do and for keeping it real for the fans out there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. I personally have never heard.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like we would love to hear, especially to help Michelle, if anybody else has heard of anybody else that responds to sneezing with laughter, or if they themselves. I think one of the things we do hope to do with this podcast is, because we don't know what we're doing, we just want to have a community where people can share. And that's what we've really learned from like the misophonia episode and the depression episode. Honestly, even all that, we've gotten so many emails about like eczema and psoriasis and everybody's like tricks and stuff that they do, that like we want this to be like a community. So like if there's anybody that can relate to Michelle, so that we can like, I don't know, have our fans support each other. That's really what I hope happens.
At least it's adorable.
Yeah, I have to say, this is probably one of our most adorable emails. That you win. We don't have a prize or anything, Michelle, but you win.
Yeah. Googles.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I Googled, does it help to put toilet paper on a public toilet seat?
That's actually a really good one.
Yeah, because you've been doing something for so long, you don't think about it anymore, but I always put toilet paper down, always. And some sites said, no, it's actually worse because there's so much fecal matter in the air from flushing the toilet. Actually, the toilet paper has more shit on it than the seat would. But one doctor said, basically, like, you're not going to get any STDs from it, and unless you have like some sort of open wound or anything, like you're probably fine, and getting anything from it is rare. But like if it makes you feel better, do it. But like if anything, it's just going to be just as dirty, if not dirtier. And she was like, sometimes public toilet seats are cleaner than like your kitchen sink. Well, she's obviously seen my kitchen sink, and so but basically you don't have to worry about it, and like you can just sit bare ass on the seat. And I will, unless there's visible stuff on the seat. I just stopped giving a shit because nothing happens.
I'm a hoverer. I've always hovered.
Oh, I hate hovers because you're the ones who leave urine on the seat.
I'm very good. Like, I'm fucking good. All right, I'm talented. I'm a runner. I have strong legs. I'm a hoverer. I stand by it. I don't pee on seats.
Okay, maybe you're okay, but a lot of women,
there's
drips on seats. Just fucking look down at the toilet and wipe it off. Why is it difficult? I just don't get it. I'm like, I'm having a fit, but it really infuriates me. I hate hovers. I pissed on myself the first night I was in Poland. Look, we were at an outdoor market and they had what's it called? The
porta potties? Yes,
porta potties, and it was dark and there's no lights and I couldn't see anything, and I was trying to hover and I just missed.
Those are too hard. They're so high up.
They're so high up. I'm a very short person.
Those are the most impossible hoverers. I'll just say it. Like those, okay. I will never, you could tell me they're cleaner than my kitchen sink and I would never. Porta potties, I try to touch nothing.
Yeah. And even putting toilet paper down, I'm still hovering. I put toilet paper and hover in those because they're disgusting. And it just bounced off the edge of the thing and then into my jeans. I just pissed myself.
How much was it? A lot?
No, I had to stop midstream. It was enough that like it was damp, but it wasn't like it just kept going. Like I felt that I did it and then I stopped. So now I'm miserable because not only like I still have to pee and I'm soaking wet from urine.
It's the worst.
There comes a point in like outdoor festivals, you sort of expect to get shit and urine on you. You're just like, that's just going to be life for the weekend. And that's why I don't like going to them.
As someone that has to pee all the time, it's my nightmare.
It's my nightmare.
Because like running marathons, like I would like look at the course map before I ran a marathon to figure out like what mile marks there was stuff. And then you would have to wait. And it was just like, I always thought I would be much faster if I didn't have to pee every 4 seconds. But like, there's like, I'm not even a germaphobe, and they cause me so much stress. So it's both like I have to pee all the time and I don't want to be in this box of filth that I try to avoid them at all costs.
Totally. And it feels like because of social distancing, everything's outdoors now. Like whenever we go to pubs around here, it's always like the outdoor type pubs that are huge and But it's always porta potties. Like I feel like everywhere I go, it's just like I have to use a porta potty, and
the only good thing about right now is everybody has the sanitizer. Like you could ask a baby and they're like, yeah, I have 4 in my diaper. Like everybody has hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Because I used to, you know who I'd always ask? I would ask people like mothers or people like with like babysitting kids, because they always have sanitizer. And now I think you could ask like any dude and they'd be like, yeah, I got it on my belt. Like everybody
they have like a water gun full of sanitizer.
Yeah. They're just like, this is how I get close to my friends. Okay, so basically it doesn't matter is what we've learned.
No, it doesn't matter unless you're in a porta potty, you filthy animal. What was your Google?
Mine was inspired by what we talked about in a previous episode about sleep. You really started to make me think. I was like, is sleep anxiety a thing? So I looked it up. I was like, is sleep anxiety or fear of sleep a thing? Because like, I don't know, I started to be like, it is kind of weird. It is. And I think I have it. It's like super, so it's called, I can't pronounce anything, Somophobia. And it's also known as
Can you spell that?
It's SOMNIPHOBIA.
Okay.
Somnophobia. It could also be called sleep anxiety or sleep dread. If you have insomnia, experience nightmares, sleep paralysis, that can contribute to it, which is kind of crazy because 2 nights ago, I have sleep paralysis sometimes. My little sister, Emily, has it a fair amount, and we've always talked about it. If you don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's like at some point when you're sleeping, your body kind of stops moving. I'm doing a horrible job of describing this, but your brain will be awake, but your body will still be in this like not moving stage, and it's really scary. So, and like, I also have it where it feels like somebody's touching me or somebody's on top of me. So like the other night I'm sleeping, I don't know if I'm in a dream or what's happening, but it feels like somebody's sitting on my legs, and I try to get up and I can't. And so my mind is awake, and it's funny. It's happened enough that I know it's not real and nobody's in the room, but I still freak myself out. So it takes me about, I don't know, 5-10 seconds to like whatever. And then I kind of like am fully awake. I can move. Nobody's in my room clearly. But like, I wonder if that's a big contributing factor. I don't know. They say it's less of a fear of sleep and more of a fear of what will happen when you're asleep, which that is like a full definition of how I feel. And then, I wanted to list, I kept the article open because, so mental health symptoms specific to somnophobia may include feeling fear and anxiety when thinking about sleep, experiencing distress as it gets closer to bedtime, avoiding going to bed or staying up as long as possible. I definitely do that. Having panic attacks when it's time to sleep. I've done that. Having trouble focusing on things besides sleep-related worry and fear, experiencing irritability and mood swings. That's just who I am. Having a hard time remembering things. And then physical symptoms could be nausea or stomach issues related to persistent anxiety about sleep, tightness in chest, increased heart rate when thinking about sleep, sweats, chills, hyperventilation. I mean, a lot of this sounds like panic attacks. And then in children, crying, clinging, other resistance to bedtime, including not wanting caregivers to leave them alone. Honestly, like 4 of those adult symptoms, I was like, ooh. I never really put that together. I've always been like this. In general, I have issues with control, just all of them. And I have a lot of fears. And it's weird because I spend a lot of time, up until this pandemic, I spent a lot of time by myself. I travel by myself. I sleep in hotels by myself. I walk alone at night by myself. Like I go to different countries. Like almost 70% of my life is on my own. But I've always been scared to be by myself. I hate being in hotels by myself. I very much have realized, like we talked about it in the sleep episode, just having someone else in the room, like when we've had sleepovers and you slept next to me, my boyfriend sleeping next to me, even I think it does help that I have I share an apartment with 2 guys, like my roommates are at least in this vicinity. I mean, we both talked about how we're on the first floor. It took me weeks to be okay with that, and I still struggle with it. And then after that knocking on my window thing that freaked me out, my boyfriend bought me a thing that I put in the window so you can't lift up the window because the lock doesn't really work very well. That'll help remind me. So like I'll get ready for bed and it'll be like noisy because it's just kind of noisy in my neighborhood. It'll be noisy and it'll kind of freak me out a little bit. And then I have to go in both my windows. I have stuff that makes it so you can't open it. And then someone would have to break in and I'm going to wake up. I wake up just because a kitten sneezed down the road. Like I'm such a light sleeper that I'm like, in what way do I think I'm not going to be fine if somebody smashes my window in. And then I'm like, well, what if they come from the front door? And I'm like, well, the front door is locked. And if, again, they would have to do some kind of smashing. I have a lot of anxiety about being asleep. I think that's like the same reason, like I never liked drinking. So me quitting drinking 5 years ago, I didn't enjoy that. Like, I don't like that loss of control. It was never fun for me. And it would actually cause, like, I had a lot of panic attacks when I was drunk because it was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Even if I got into a cab, I was like, this cab knows I'm drunk. I was always one of those people that would be like drunk and I'd be like, act natural. like, don't say anything, but you tell them the address and you're like, did I slur? And I would literally be like, I hope I didn't slur. I hope they don't know. I hope I got in the cab in a normal way. Like, I hope I crawled into it in a professional and sober like way so they don't know I'm drunk.
I remember in high school, I got drunk with my friend Melissa, and, you know, her grandmother took care of her, and we were staying the night there, and she was like, okay, when we go back, don't say anything, just go straight upstairs. I was like, yeah. And then we walk in and I pass her to go upstairs, and we made eye contact and I went, hi! Just stumbled upstairs.
Yeah, you started doing a tap dancing.
Yeah, it was kind of a dumb story. Right.
So yeah, I think I have a phobia.
Yeah, it sounds like crazy. We discovered that. Yeah.
I never thought about it, even though it's something that like I do.
Wow. Now this podcast is even helping us.
I know. It actually kind of freaked me out. Like you planted a little seed in my head, and then I looked it up and I was like, I do this. I've always done this. I don't like sleeping.
No. Wow. Oh, muffin. All right. Well, now it's time to start getting over it.
I guess. I didn't see anything that helps with it.
Meditation will help with everything. And I just feel like if you could just commit to 3 weeks so we can fucking talk about it.
Well, I will. I will do the Deepak meditation. I feel like every episode is just you checking in and me being like, I'm gearing up.
What's the point of talking about all this if you're not going to try to fix it?
I'm going to try to fix it. Stop yelling at me.
I'm sorry. A lot of coffee.
Okay, let's get personal. Yeah. Although we've told a lot of personal stories.
We have.
How important is having a romantic partner for you?
Yeah, it's important. It's very important. I don't want to be cool girl and be like, I don't need one. I do. I like being in a relationship. I like being in my relationship. I don't want to be basically like, I don't want to be in just any relationship just to be in a relationship. Like, if it doesn't work out, as was the case, like, you know, I was engaged and I got out of it because it was better to be alone than in that relationship. So I don't want to just be in one for the sake of being in one, but I like being in one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I go back and forth. I mean, to me, here's my question for you. Do you feel like you hop around in relationships in the sense that, like, if you're not in one, you're constantly seeking one, or can you be by yourself for a while and wait for the right person?
I love being by myself. Like, I love hanging out by myself. I love eating by myself. I like being able to make decisions for myself and not consulting other people. Yeah. But I forgot the question for some reason.
I have friends that are like serial hoppers. Like, they've never been single. Oh, right. They're like in their 40s and they've never been single more than a couple of months.
Let me finish as this. I was continuing the thought, but I've never been the type of person to be like going from one relationship to another. I was actually single for a really long time because I liked the distraction of chasing, because I was a chaser. And I don't think I knew that at the time. I wouldn't say like, oh, I love doing all this chasing. I just, yeah. At the time I was going,
run.
Why aren't relationships working out for me? And I seem to be getting the same relationship over and over and over, but you just tend to distract. I don't know, like you like one tends to put off anything important by focusing on drama, which I think probably goes into our topic. But I think that people like focus on all the drama in their lives to distract them from anything important, any important endeavors they really want to do. And I don't know why. Like, it's kind of what the book The War of Art is.
Yeah.
I think I've hopped out of that and I'm in a relationship that serves me well. We better each other. But if it didn't, I wouldn't choose being in a relationship over being single just to not be single. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm very similar. I feel like I date and then I'm single for like 2 years, and then I date and then I'm like single for 2 years. Like even when I was not as emotionally healthy, I always processed alone. And it's hard. I don't know if I like being in a relationship. I clearly love my boyfriend, and I'm grateful for a lot of the boyfriends that I've had. Like I don't think I've ever dated anybody that I didn't like. I don't get in relationships with people that aren't nice. I like nice guys, and I like people that make me laugh and people that I can like be open with and share. And it's taken me a long time to grow and really learn to be the same way that I had to learn to be myself in comedy and in friendships. I had to do the same thing with romantic partners, because I spent my whole life just being scared to be myself and thinking that I wasn't worthy of love. But it is so triggering for me. Like relationships are so hard for me, and I am such an independent person, and I don't know. I find myself always happier alone, and I can't figure that out if it's because I have so much work to do on myself, and it's that work is only triggered by situations with a partner, and it's always exhausting for me. Or if I have so many goals, this sounds like a cop out, but I have so many goals and things that I want to do, and there's so much compromise that goes into a relationship, which is healthy and important, and I don't like doing that.
I feel like relationships do sort of slow you down. Like Johnny and I are very different speeds. And this became very apparent when we were traveling, because he's like, I think he felt a bit bossed around. And you know how, like in another episode, I feel like I said I ruin people's time. But I'm very much my own speed. And it's just easier just to, when you're on your own, just to be at the speed you're. And this isn't just about like actual physical speed, but just with everything. It's like the pace you want to go at, considerations, like always having to consider someone else. It slows you down. And which shouldn't be a problem with other aspects. Like if you're ambitious in your career, the relationship shouldn't hinder that, but it just depends on like how much drama the relationship is bringing, that it is if it's seeping into interfering with other parts of your life. That's when it's like, is this working? Is it, I don't know if I'm being really articulate. But.
No, but like, so here's a good example. Like I said, I travel a lot by myself. So I'll be in Malaysia by myself, and I think, okay, what are the things that I should do in Malaysia? I'll ask a couple of friends that have been there or live there, and they'll be like, you have to go to the Batu Caves. So there's something touristy that I feel like I should do. And I usually start with something touristy when I'm going to be somewhere for a couple of days and I want to experience the country. So I go to the Batu Caves. I see it. It's amazing. You know, my first feeling is I wish somebody was here with me. This is so fucking cool. There's monkeys everywhere. There's this huge staircase that's like rainbow colors. There was actually some kind of religious traditional holiday that was happening, so everybody's dressed up. It was just a crazy experience. And my first thought is, I wish my boyfriend who was there, I wish I was with friends, I wish I was experiencing it with others. This is so cool. Then what I do next is I just start to roam, because you know me, I'm not, you're about the food, and I know that when we travel together that you're like, as long as we get somewhere that has food, but I don't really care about the food. I might ask a little bit and whatever, but like I don't care. I want to see street art. I want to see stray animals. I want to go to cool little weird shops and buy souvenirs of things. I want to buy something for you that you could never get on your own. Like that's where I am emotionally. And I feel when I'm with my partner that I can't just roam. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and not even like them as a hindrance. It's more of just being considerate. And I never really realized that I spent my entire life, because I babysat my siblings. I constantly had responsibilities for other people that it's taken me a really long time in my adulthood to acknowledge what I want to do, and then also carve out that freedom to do it. And I find myself not resentful, because I don't think I'm resentful, but I find myself going back to being like almost 14-year-old Liz. That's like, what do you need? What do you want? And I feel so much freedom when I don't even have to ask anybody that. Yes. And I don't know, and it feels like clearly something I have to work on, because I don't think any partner wants you to hinder yourself or hold yourself back. But when I'm usually single, I'm sad. It's always sad, even when it wasn't the right relationship. But then I hit a groove. You know what I mean? And the only thing that hinders that groove is loneliness.
Relationships bring a lot to the table, and except like it is, you do pay for it with consideration. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be
And it's like,
a
and
payment,
that's
but it
what,
is. It's like having to stop and consider someone and having to compromise.
yeah. And I think compromise is important. And I am a compromiser. I mean, like our whole friendship is we've learned to kind of communicate and compromise. And I don't feel like you hold me back, but it took 15 years for us to get here.
And also, we're
And
not in a romantic partnership, and for whatever reason, it's so different. It's like
it is
I
so much
won't
easier.
be a weight on you like a romantic partner would be, and I don't know
Also,
why it's
you can go
different.
hang out with other girls and I'm not like, you're cheating on me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like I'm not even one of those like jealous partners. Like I have a lot of guy friends because of comedy. He has a lot of girlfriends because of, comedy as well. Like it's like we're just in this place where like that doesn't bother me at all. But then there'll just be these moments where like if he shows a type of affection that I want, or a type of attention, I think is a better word, that I want to somebody else, it triggers me like crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not exaggerating. One of our biggest fights is he went on and on about how funny some girl was that he worked with.
But
And
come on.
but I could not handle it. Could not
Of
handle.
course you couldn't.
I'm not even exaggerating. It was like, he's a TV producer. So it was like, I don't know, like a stage manager or somebody that owns a boom mic. I don't even know who she was, but he spent half a phone call while away for weeks, by the way, talking about how funny she was. And I was like, I can't. And it was a huge
Oh
fight.
my God, Liz, though. But like, it's
I think it's my only redeeming quality.
yeah, that's like, I don't want to,
Be special. Don't tell me how funny she is.
I hate to bring up Friends again, but it does happen on Friends. That's like Chandler's thing. And Monica's talking about how funny someone else is. And it's a thing. Okay. So A, there's that. B, work romances. Like you're not
And you want your partner to connect with people they work with. You don't want somebody to be miserable at work. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, I'm just saying they happen anyway. But on top of that, he's traveling. So he's away from you. He's traveling. So it's not even you see him in the evening and like,
Yeah.
And
you reconnect.
where was he? He was like in some tropical, beautiful, like some fucking honeymoon spot.
Yeah.
So it's just like all these things that you're just like, no woman could handle what you had to handle.
Yeah.
And you didn't handle it. And that's okay.
I can have jealous moments because we all get insecure, but I'm not usually jealous of women. That was like one of our biggest, like 4 years into our relationship. I was like, is she a professional comedian?
I wouldn't have been able to handle that either. Like I wouldn't, it's like, you get a pass for that from me. What does that matter?
This is funny. So our topic today is the power of now. So like Eckhart Tolle, which is just funny because we're all being like pretty much talking about how unspiritually enlightened we are.
The Power of Now is the book that bonded us because we did a show together and we went out, everybody at the show went out to eat in Chinatown after. And I sat across from you. It was the first night I'd ever met you.
Well, first of all, we should start out that like, I didn't have a lot of close friends. Like I was friends with comics, but like, I didn't have anybody that I was super close with. I just like Jim and Drinos, who put that show together, was always a fan of mine and really kind to me. And he put this show together. It was not a good show, but you were so funny. So I remember being like, here's a girl, don't know her, didn't think anything of it. Then you go on stage and I was like, this girl's so good. Like I like to me, that's like that's the fastest way to my heart. So I saw your material and I was like, she's so funny. And then Jim was like, do you want to go out to eat? And I don't like being around strangers. I don't like that pressure, but it's Jim. And I was also broke and I knew he would pay. So we go out and we sit across from each other. And I don't know how, I think you brought it up and my eyes lit up truly like you had read like my diary and you knew everything about me. Like it was like both you were funny and you read The Power of Now. And I had just finished it, I think. And we just clicked. Like we talked about it the entire dinner.
Yeah. Now, can you remember anything about it?
Almost nothing. Yeah. Well, I'll say this. So there's a sign on my wall. I made it myself that says accept, then act. And that was one of the first things I got from The Power of Now because I am a drama bomb. Like I am very emotional. I am a reactor. Like we talked about in one of the episodes is that I got a parking ticket and now I can feel it. Like before I wasn't connected to my emotions. I couldn't tell you my emotions. Everything got filtered through anger, but like I would be upset. I would be crying while angry and I would be sad while like everything was just this one feeling. But now like I got the parking ticket, my entire body gets hot and I'm just rageful. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at the world. Like my initial feeling, I now can see it happen and I can acknowledge it, and that's how I can diffuse it. But pre the power of now, pre-therapy, there was no gap. It was something happened, Liz goes off the handle. And so the power now gave me that little break. The power of now gave me that, what's going on? Why am I upset about this? Is this really something that's going to affect my life forever? Is this not something that can't be fixed? Is this something that's temporary? And like it helped give me that barrier to process my emotions before reacting to them. And it's silly. It's accept then act. Like you could say it to a child and they would know what that means. But like it took me so long to not only embody that, but to understand how impactful it had on my life.
The thing that I got most from it was to observe yourself like you're a child. It wasn't like trying to stop you from being angry. It just said, notice you were angry. So, you know, I'd get angry and then my brain would be like, you're so fucking angry right now. And it kind of made me laugh. Look at you. Just, oh, you're going off. Oh. I think that's the biggest takeaway I got from this 900-page book was to step back and observe yourself. But I'm not sure that I need to read it again. And I don't know why have we chosen this topic when neither of us had read it in so long?
No, but I think there's also something important because it had because I read The Power of Now and I read The New Earth. I actually liked The New Earth better than The Power of Now.
I don't think I did, but which one had the pain bodies in it?
I think they both had the pain bodies in it.
Okay.
Being in the moment is like a huge thing. Like my dad has probably read it 4 times and he constantly rereads it. And I really should reread it because 21-year-old me read it. And now 35-year-old me would be fascinated to know what I actually absorbed and still use and might have even forgotten that it's from the Power of Now. What I find fascinating is that like, cause you know, it's under spiritual enlightenment. It's probably self-helpy and whatever, but I remember it's about getting away from your ego and not being ego driven. It's about not being disconnected to your feelings and accepting what's actually happening and understanding that you have no problems in the moment. Like that was one of the most important ways of me accepting what's going on. I'm going to sneeze and it's very upsetting.
Well, somewhere someone's laughing their ass off. Speaking of ego though, no, go for it. I had a friend who was like talking to me about she hooked up with someone and then he like kind of fucked off and she was really upset about it. And I was like, well, first of all, she's telling me the story. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, why are you upset? I was like, wait, did you sleep with him? She was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so that makes sense. And then I was like, so he just fucked off and is staying somewhere else. And did you even like this guy? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I've never really heard about him that much, but why are you so upset? I was like, oh, is this because your ego's been hurt? She's like, oh yeah, probably. I was like, yeah.
That's what I've really learned is like half of the reason I'm upset or mad or like consumed with like anger or it's ego. Like my ego is the thing that will make me respond to a commenter that said something shitty. My ego is the thing that will make me feel like I'm not good enough and that I haven't done anything with my life or my career. My ego will prevent me from connecting with friends or my partner. You start to realize how much your ego drives how you connect with people, how you feel about yourself, what you will do or not do. Think about it this way. Like you might get into a career fully based on ego, the fact that it'll make you look good, the fact that it'll make you money, which also makes you look good, the fact that you'll be in certain circles that are people consider more important or more valid. Like ego could completely change the course of your life, let alone the course of your relationships or your day. And I think I talked about it with you on the phone the other day that this is like a little baby ego thing, but I did a show in the park and it's a bunch of comics I don't really know. And in a pre-pandemic, when you're doing shows in a city, you usually have a couple of shows. So you have to show up about 10 minutes before your spot. You do your spot, you get paid, you run off, you go do another spot. So you kind of say hi to people in the green room and then you leave. At this point in our career, we don't really get to know new comics because they're either not on shows with us or we're in and out. So I'm watching a full park show. Like they start late. Sometimes, you know, they say my spot time is at this time and it's not. I don't have anywhere else to go. So I sat and watched the whole show, and I was at the end of the show, and I see this comic, and he's very funny. And I do my spot, and then I sat next to him, and I was like, oh, that was really funny. He's like, oh, you're really funny. And then I said something like, did you just move here, or have you been here for a while? And he's like, oh, I started here. I've been here for a while. He goes, what about you? And I was like, oh, I've been here for a while. And he goes, oh, are you online? Are you like on Instagram or Twitter? And I found myself a little, like, most people in the community in New York know who I am. Like, it's the only little thing that makes me feel like I established myself as a comic. I don't care that the world doesn't know who I am. Most New York comics know who I am. And the fact that he didn't, and then he asked, like, are my socials, I made sure to give him my Instagram socials because they're the more impressive ones, because I wanted him to know you made a mistake. You should know who I am.
Motherfucking Mealy.
But it was all very kind. Like, there's no way that I wasn't like, he didn't be like I was never mean to him. I was never like, but like in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna make sure he knows who I am.
When I first moved to London, I was doing admin at a comedy club, and Richard Herring had written in, and I had never heard of him. And so, like, he'd written in wanting to do like an hour show. And I was like, well, if you could just fill out this form and then someone will get back to you. And then, like, the girl who books the club, like, had to write him back right away and go, I'm so sorry. That was an automatic reply. Like, of course you can, you know, like, she had to, like, usurped.
I don't know that word.
I had to stop it because, like, it was Richard Herring and
yeah,
and I'm just like,
it was like telling Robin Williams.
Your interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, we'll see. There's you have to do an audition first, and then after the audition, you're just like, yeah. And it's funny because I knew as soon as I did it, I knew that was an ego move.
Yeah.
Like, and then I told you about it, and it's silly because it's not a big deal, but those are the little moments I try to keep in check because I don't want to do things based on ego. I don't want to make friendships based on ego. Does it matter that this young comic doesn't know who I am? No. Does it make me any less of a performer or a person in this community? No. So it's like, it's also pulling back and understanding why I did that little move, even if nobody knows about that ego trip but me. And then I always try to kind of keep it in check because I never want to be that person that treats people poorly for something in this world. Does not matter. Who gives a shit, even if I become the biggest comic in the world? Why does that matter? It doesn't. And so for me, understanding both on a basic level of how ego drives you on top of like a bigger level of what moves you make in your, like, always being aware of how your ego kind of tricks you or can hurt you, because I think it starts with those little baby moments. And then next thing you know, I'm Alec Baldwin yelling at people because, you know, something isn't as toasty as I thought it would be. Like, I just never want to, I never want to be that person. Like this, even just the fact that we put actors on a pedestal to allow them to have that behavior when you're like, you just play pretend for a lot of money. In what way do you have any value? Like, scientists should be flipping tables, not actors. Like, that's where it's like so funny to me, but I don't know. So I think the power of now.
She says that she gave someone her Instagram so they can see.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, I did that. Like, I am admitting that was my baby ego trip. And if that gets out of, it's going to lead to like, fucking.
Oh, you're going to be the biggest diva. Like, I know I'm going to be a diva, but you're in denial. Like, you're going to be the biggest diva.
I don't think I will though. No, I won't. Fuck you.
Fuck you. I'm calling it now.
How do you think I'm going to be a diva?
Just that attitude right there. Oh yeah. Tell me right now.
Tell me now, or I'll be doing this podcast with my mother.
No, you're gonna be a nightmare. Let's talk about. You're gonna be self-aware, but you are gonna be a nightmare.
I slap somebody, I'd be like, "That was ego." You're welcome.
Let's talk about the whole like you have no problems in this moment thing, because you said that sticked with you, and like I remember that, and I remember like that not helping me at all.
Really?
I don't know, like, when that advice applies and is helpful in this moment. Okay. What problems do you really have? It's like a lot.
Well, because so you have to really frame it the way he's trying to explain it. So to have no problems in this moment, and clearly there are times where you have problems in the moment. If your car is on fire, you have a problem in that moment. But like me getting that parking ticket in this moment, is it really that big of a deal? I have $65. It's already done. Nobody's trying to hurt me or harm me. I'm not going to lose my ability to eat or sleep or have shelter because of this parking ticket. This is not a problem. The other thing is let's say you do have a real problem. Let's say you're going to be evicted. You have a notice on your door. It says you're going to be evicted. You have 30 days to leave. In this moment, you still have 30 days before you get evicted. You're not being currently evicted in this moment. You have 30 days before you're being evicted. So what it allows you to do is saying, in this moment, I don't actually have a problem. I have to maybe coordinate how I don't get evicted and or find another place to live. But if someone's punching you in the face, you have a problem in this moment. But if you're about to fight somebody, or if you're just uncomfortable, technically in this moment, you don't have the problem. You can start preparing for how to get out of what you think might be a moment. But it's just allowing you to, because like personally for me, I freak out about stuff from the moment I think about it and it's not even a thing to it happening. Because that's just, I guess, anxiety. I don't know what it is. But like, I will agree to do a gig that I know is going to be horrific. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to bomb. I'm not even making good money. Why did I agree to this?
Yeah.
And it could be 3 months out. And for 3 months, every day I'll look at my calendar and be like, whoa, why did I agree to this?
Yeah.
I hate doing this. And I've had to learn to pull myself out and be like, we will freak out about this when it's time.
Like, I've had to do that a lot with shows too. Actually, the power now came in really handy when I opened for Bill Burr at the arena in Birmingham. Like it was like,
I feel like you put that in there.
That was definitely a humble brag, but the point was, it's not like I fucking say it every podcast. Like, oh, well, when I was opening for...
I was just being a bitch, to be perfectly honest.
I know I sound like a dick saying it, but it's the point was, it was a really nerve-wracking moment in my life. And the only thing that got me through it, actually, now that I've already talked shit about it, was this, like, that's later. And then like even in the car, like when I was on the Uber on the way to the arena, I've had to be like, that's not yet. Now, nothing's happening. And I really had to like take it in segments, or the whole thing would have just been so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I get that. But let's talk about his voice.
It is a lot.
A lot to deal with.
So I'll say this. I had a professor in college that had like a German accent, and I learned very quickly. I had a couple, like I had a professor with an English accent. Like it puts me to, like, any accent I find very soothing, and it just puts me to sleep. I slept in so many classes in college. So my biggest issue with Eckhart Tolle is when I've listened to like audio things from him and like YouTube videos, he puts me to sleep because he's already he's slow. We're going to think about what the nature is bringing into our
spirit. Like an alien.
And he has this thick, I forget where he's from.
I think it's Finland or Norway or something like that.
Norway or something. He has this thick accent. He talks really slow. His whole vibe is soothing. And it's also sometimes what I have a problem with like these like meditation apps. And I fall asleep. And so I've fallen asleep so many times. Like I had a friend that's like, oh yeah, when I'm driving to a gig, I listen to Eckhart Tolle. I was like, how have you not crashed into everyone?
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of want a spiritual enlightenment person from America, because I think that's more of a feat than somebody from some country with universal health care.
Well, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about, was that he had to... This is true.
Of course you have no problems, Mr. Tolle.
In this moment, I have no problems. Yeah, you're goddamn right, because you're from Finland.
Dude, you could go to jail and have a better life.
Where is he from? There's the other thing, is he said this whole thing like came to him when he was like sitting on a park bench, like homeless or some shit. And it just came, like, I just, German-born resident of Canada. I think we got it all wrong.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was German. I thought he was, like, Austrian or German. Yeah, okay. So we were both wrong.
I still think... Ulrich Leonard Tolle. Where did you get Eckhart?
So, born in Germany, lived in Canada. Both great health insurance, I think. So, I still stand by what I said.
I would like to know where he got the knowledge. I think I remember him saying in the book, he was sitting on a park bench and then just had an epiphany, which I don't buy or like. I need more explanation. But that was a while ago, so I don't know. I don't remember.
I think we're going to have to do another episode on this.
Yeah, the power of now for now.
I do want to reread it. I've been meaning to reread it. And also, like, it was so mind-blowing to me when I read it at 21 because I was a mess, like truly like a mess, that now after reading it, trying to apply it, being in therapy, you know, reading other kind of books and learning about my own issues through childhood trauma and codependency and blah, blah, blah. I would love to reread it and then be like, oh, almost the same way. This is going to sound so stupid. You can kind of see it right there is the poster of Jerry Seinfeld's Comedian. I watched it in the movie theaters, I think, when I was 15. It was like before I did stand-up. Yeah. So I watched it before I ever did stand-up.
Me too.
Then I think I watched it again when I was like 18 and I had done stand-up for a couple of years. And then I watched it again when I was probably 25 and I was starting to do the road. And then I watched it again probably like a couple years later when I started headlining. And each time I watched it, I related to different parts of it and understood different parts of it and hated people for different reasons.
Yeah. It's like a Bible. It's like you always like, you can read the same thing. It just has a different meaning to you at different points in your life. What else? Like song lyrics can be like that. And then, the Power Now will definitely be like that. Cause like now that we're in different points of our lives.
21-year-old Liz knew nothing. She was just a maniac and had mood swings and couldn't handle anything.
For some reason, I loved it.
You were such a good friend, even for 21-year-old Liz. I'm very grateful. And then now, 35-year-old Liz still has issues, still a work in progress. But I feel like I utilize so many different things that kind of get me through the day. I'm not as reactive. I can process my emotions. I can acknowledge that I don't even feel like I had emotions. I started learning this word disassociate, and I started to realize I did that for like most of my life. So even realizing that I was somebody that would couldn't connect to their emotions, felt numb most of their life, was either depressed or felt nothing. And now clearly I have emotions. I feel joy. I can feel depression, blah, blah, blah. But I am fascinated about reading it now that I have had more experiences in my life, but also have tried to utilize some of his practices and even seeing if I misinterpreted them. Cause 21-year-old Liz was probably just like, I got it. This is what it's about. And then 35-year-old Liz would be like, I don't think that's what it's about at all.
Yeah, you hear what you want to hear. And if anyone did you read The Power of Now? And what part stuck out to you the most?
Yeah, I would like to hear anybody that's read it, anybody that's read any kind of spiritual enlightenment and how it's impacted them, because it's always kind of like feels a little foo-foo-y where you're just like Buddha. I always think Buddha on the mountaintop. That's just like, I have no problems. And I'm never going to feel that way. I'm never going to feel like somebody that has no problems, nor do I think that would be good for my comedy. I'm pretty much complain about problems.
Yeah.
But please write to us, tunondoctors@gmail.com. Yeah, I feel good.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. You're our favorite.